Today's episode of the Wildcats Roundup is only made possible by Team Steve Lamani at Realty One Group. Team Steve Lamani at Realty One Group offers unparalleled knowledge of the Westmoreland real estate market. Whether you're a first-time buyer or a seasoned seller, Steve Lamani at Realty One Group is here to guide you every step of the way. Give the team a call at 724-972-1543 or via email at steve@teamlamani.com. Thank you, Steve Lamani, for your generous support of the Wildcats Network.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Wildcats Roundup here on the Wildcats Network YouTube channel. I'm Richard Hillwig, alongside with Tristen Borland, and we come to you from the Wildcats store here at Greater Latrobe Senior High School. The Wildcats store, your den, starts here. And Tristen, the end of the 2023-2024 boys basketball season was a disappointing one, to say the least, in which Greater Latrobe found themselves losing 6 straight to end the year. With what they have returning this year and with the experience that they got last year, they should be right in the mix of things again in 2024.
I think the big thing that should be taken away from that is that 5 out of those 6 losses to end the season were section games. It was that second half of the section schedule, and the Wildcats weren't able to get it done. They're going to need to be able to do that this year. But there was an interesting quote that I was told by a Mr. Coach Lombardi from the Indiana University of Pennsylvania Crimson Hawks whenever I was a student there. He told me, kid, sometimes it's about getting the right pieces together at the right time. And I think that Brad Wetzel has the right pieces at the right time. He has a great senior class. A lot of the great players from last year from places like Franklin Regional and Penn Trafford have graduated, and Gateway too. They had a lot of great players that graduated last year. Brad, some of his best players, at least statistically, are back for this year. So I think that if there is a year for the Cats to make some noise in the postseason, it's this year.
Well, last year's season for Greater Latrobe definitely was an up and down season, no doubt. Greater Latrobe started section play in 2024 with a 2-0 section record with wins over both Kiski and McKeesport, and ended their first wave of section play with a thrilling win at the Swamp in Gateway for one of the biggest wins in recent history for the Greater Latrobe program. Unfortunately, it would be the last section win that the Wildcats would get, as they finished the season 1-6, losing their final 5 section games. And despite the difficult ending for the Wildcats, they should have the talent and experience to get back to the point in which they were last year, but not just that point, a step further.
I think so, and I think what they're going to have to do to take that next step further, and you already know what I'm about to say, Richard, it's winning in the section. You have to beat teams in your section if you want to get not only making the playoffs, but getting a better seeding in the playoffs. I mean, we just got that brand new gym, Richard. How great would it be to have Whipple boys basketball back at the den in that brand new gym? I mean, the school worked so hard to get it up and running. But I will say this, like I mentioned a couple seconds ago, Cats are going to be in a section where, yes, some schools graduated some players, but don't think that it got any easier. I mean, they just got that Uniontown team who has gone years without losing in their home court. So the Cats are going to have to be able to overcome such obstacles as that if they want to be able to make the postseason.
And while the Wildcats will be graduating 2 key seniors from last year's team, that's all it will be, just 2, Quadarius Davis and Jaton Williams from last year's team, and they will also expect progression from players like Andy Tash, Dom Scarton, taking bigger roles on the team, but also they're going to expect others to step up in a big way this year as well.
You know who really stood out for me in practice? While we were watching these practices, first of all, I have never, in all of my years of covering basketball, seen a more physical and more focused basketball team. I'm talking about even whenever my Crimson Hawks were making a run at the Sweet 16. Even then, I did not see them practice as physically and be as mentally focused as the Cats were in that den under Coach Brad Wetzel. And one of those players that I felt was really focused and is ready to make his mark is Sawyer Butina. He was a big player for Coach Ron Prady this year in the secondary, and I think for Brad Wetzel, he's ready to make his mark in the lineup as well.
The mindset for the Wildcats since February has been unfinished business. For more on how they carry that out through the entirety of the 2024-25 season, let's find out from head coach Brad Wetzel.
Folks, here inside the player room, down inside of the Greater Latrobe High School, underneath the den, myself, Tristen Borland, alongside me, the king, Richard Hillwig, and of course the star of our Roundup, head coach Brad Wetzel. Coach, first of all, thank you so much for being here today. And before we talk about the team, I want to talk to you about a project that the school had done during the summer, fall kind of intermission. What do you think about that new den? Do you think they did a good job?
Oh, I think it's, it's sad that there was an accident, but nobody was hurt. It was I'm not real sure exactly what happened, if it was a pipe broke or what, but we had a flood, and the result, quite frankly, turned out to be a blessing. The court looks great. The kids are excited. Well, I'm excited. Everybody, once you see it, just makes you really proud of our facility. So there's a couple other things. Everybody could add this or that, but I mean, I really think we did it right this time.
We've mentioned that happened over the summer break. You guys were practicing when the new section got announced. What have you guys been doing for the past 2 months, 3 months, since the last time we talked to, in a sense, prepare you for probably the most cutthroat section in 5A?
Yeah, I think you're right on that. And it's the biggest section in 5A. You know, we're an 18. You know, the question is, are we doing a better job than we did last year? And it's kind of uncharted waters, you know, as far as having so many fall athletes. And I hope so. You know, obviously the proof will be in the pudding, so, you know, we won't have to wait long to find that out. But we've been building that foundation, you know, and anxiously awaiting our fall sports guys. They've trickled in. And then, of course, the last big bunch was the football guys. And it's been a blessing, really. It just seems like we're getting stronger every day. The football guys are kind of getting their sea legs back. I mean, football and basketball, I think, are very complementary, but they're not the same. And so those guys, the learning curve spiked pretty good.
So Coach, over the summer, a lot of training going on, but as Richard mentioned, during your fall training, a lot of your football players weren't able to be there and kind of get together with the team. Would you say that now there's no more excuses? The whole team has to be kind of hitting the ground running together to get ready for, as Richard pointed out, a huge season coming up?
Yeah, I mean, there's never any excuses. I mean, no one really cares. You know what I mean? I mean, some people actually enjoy watching you flounder. And I think last year, you know, was difficult. We had some unprecedented injuries as far as the number of them, the severity of them. And then we didn't answer it real well, and we weren't prepared for it. But I think this year we've been lucky enough that we're starting the season with a full squad and a full roster. And quite frankly, I like the way the boys are working. You know, I mean, I think they're really giving us their best. And, you know, it's going to take a while, find our best basketball. Hopefully, our best is good enough until we find that. You know, that's just the reality, because they're making us play section games before Christmas break. Yeah, and everybody has to do it, I guess. So, you know, giddy up. Here we go.
I'll cut right to the chase about last year. You guys lost 5 straight section games during the season. It was the ultimate reason why you didn't make the playoffs. Let's just cut to the chase. What needs to change from last year to this year? Is it a sense of finishing games?
Well, I guess my short answer would be a lot needs to change. But the reality is, just even hearing you say that, it's just hard to hear. Like, you know, we're not teams that go on 5-game skids, and we did. And so I think part of this whole thing was just kind of sitting in it, as horrible as that is and was. Now it's time to get redemption, to fix it. And so I think we're on the road to that. I think we understand it very well. The players, I don't think, are going to forget that. You know, if they are the type of player that forgets that, then we're not going to win anyway. I mean, that's the bottom line. The coaching staff was clearly, you know, humbled by it. It was very humbling. And I think the players were too. And so I think now it's unfinished business. You know, let's go and show what we got and pin our ears back. We've already experienced that. I mean, we've got nothing to be afraid of. You know, just go for it.
So we've been talking up to this point, just ranting, raving about all the incredible talent that you have on this team, from John Wetzel, who's sitting just off camera as we're doing this interview, to Ian DeServe, Kyle McNeil, Brady Brahovic, Max Butler, just to name a few of the many talented players you have on this squad. And a lot of those names I just mentioned have a ton of experience playing for you and in the style of basketball that you like to play. How big is it for you to have that many, both seniors and juniors and sophomores, who have been around this team for a long time?
Well, I can't overstate it enough, Tristen. I think you hit the nail on the head. When you hit that sweet spot of experience, talent, and then the X factor, the unmeasurable, is what's underneath the jersey. How big's their heart? You know, that we'll find out. But the other parts, we've got some talent. We certainly have some experience, and I like the fact, like you said, it's not all stacked up in one class. And what our job is going to try to do, you know, we feel we've got probably, you know, 8, 9 players that can compete at our level of 5A. The question is, you know, who's battling for that 8-9 spot? Who's going to be first off the bench? Because in our way we play, number 6, number 7 might play just as much minutes as a starter. When are we better with the starting 5 and this guy subbing in? Believe it or not, it actually makes a difference. Sometimes the starting 5 doesn't play well together. Then you bring a guy off the bench and he seems to perform better. So that's what we're going to try and figure out
Going off of what you just said about having 8-9 guys ready, I feel like this may be the best depth for your team that you've had since your last playoff berth in 2021. Do you get that sense as well?
Well, you know what, Rich? I think, when you said that, I just try to go back to, I think, yeah, you're absolutely correct. I think, depth hurt us. It was a challenge. Some of it was beyond our control, and some of it, was. But I think you're right. I think we could be deep. You just don't know. You never know depth until you start playing and find out, can your depth help you? And that's where we're at. But we're hopeful.
Tristen mentioned Ian DeServe. He played a lot of games as a sophomore last year, but I think the main thing with this team is expecting progression from players like Andy Tash coming over from football to playing basketball. Sori Butina, the same thing. What assessment do you have of the depth right now to, in a sense, project you upwards?
Yeah, well, we've got a lot of confidence in everybody you've mentioned, and some others you didn't. But the depth, we're hopeful to the degree that we feel that we're a totally different team. And if that's true, we'll find out soon enough. But part of it is the trial and error stuff. And I really think that, for future reference, for if anybody in the PIA listens, like why not let us play through Christmas and then start section play? Like, what is the hurry? Because that process, sometimes it just takes longer than others.
It's been like that for the past couple of years, hasn't it?
Not like this. I mean, we didn't play a section game before Christmas last year, did we?
No, I don't think
No,
No.
I remember the first section game was, I think, afternoon.
Yeah, it's like it's
Yeah, it's great to get through Christmas and everything, and then say, okay, now we're going to stack up our section games. Some teams are luckier than others. They're ready to go right now. They've been playing in fall leagues, and they've got 25 games underneath their belt, 30 games. That won't be us, but I'm okay with that. I think we're fresh. I think we're hungry. I think we have enough talent to get this done. I really do.
Now, you mentioned about the fact that you do have some section games coming up, but before them, Coach, you have big tournaments, such as your tip-off tournament. Are you excited for those games? Is there anything that's standing out from those games?
We've got Hempfield.
Yeah,
We got Hempfield coming here. We don't have much of an exhibition schedule because we are the biggest section. So we're the 8-team section. So we're hosting a tip-off tournament, which is glad to finally get back again. We've tried for a couple years and unsuccessfully. But the Christmas tournament, we're real excited. As a matter of fact, our team meeting last night, our team meal, our team movie, that's what we should call it, 3 M's. But we watched Hoosiers because we're heading to the state of Indiana, and we're actually going to be right there in the thick of things, right where the Hoosiers was filmed. We're going to be in that gym, and so we're excited about that. But yeah, I think those are great experiences, not just basketball-wise. I think there'll be good experiences for these guys to have for the rest of their life.
So, Coach, the last question that we have for you here on the Wildcats Roundup. Now, this question is a little biased, but we always like to have a coach's perspective on this. For you as a coach, and not just for you as a coach, as a parent who watches your son play a lot of football and see a lot of the other athletes here on the Wildcats Network, what does it mean to you to have a group like the Wildcats Network that covers the teams? It's not always perfect, but we always make sure that everybody gets their due diligence.
I can't really find the words to articulate. You guys are great. I think the exposure you give these kids, the professionalism that you have. If I can voice one complaint, it's to I hope it's to the right place. Whoever's to blame, how's that? Whoever's to blame, let these guys continue to show and broadcast the videos to the Latrobe community once we get into the playoffs. And I don't.
We're gonna have playoff basketball.
Let's hope. For 3 years we've let you down, so I really hope that this year we're able to come through, and I think we will.
Especially in that new gym, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah. But to answer your question, it's just great. It's a great honor to have you guys put forth the efforts you do. I hope the kids appreciate it, and the truth of the matter is, if they don't appreciate it, now they will later.
I hope so, Coach. Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate you coming in.
And with that, this concludes another episode of the Wildcats Roundup here on the Wildcats Network. Thank you for watching. Make sure to follow us and subscribe to our YouTube channel for all coverage of Greater Latrobe Athletics.